Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Exploring Brain and Mind. And my lovely guest today is Tem Ezimokhai. Did I say that right?
You did. Well done.
She is the host of the Helping Teachers Thrive podcast. And I'm absolutely delighted to have her on my on my podcast. Welcome, Tem.
Hi, Elke. It's really lovely to be with you today. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Well, I'm always curious about what gets people to become what they are. You know, as in taking up the profession that they have taken up. So, what made you decide to become a teacher?
I always loved helping people. I just had this nature. I wanted to help people all the time. And if I'm honest, I didn't want to ever leave school. I love the
Ah,
idea of holidays and having regular holidays. I did not want to be stuck in an office 9 to 5 every day. That was not me at all. I like the unpredictability of the day. Even though our days are scheduled, we have classes, we know who we're teaching from time to time. I love the adaptability, being able to change what I wanted to do during the day. So if I couldn't go outside to teach because it was raining or snowing, just be able to change on the spot and have to do something inside. And I just like the unpredictability of it and how every day is completely different. Every
yeah, yeah.
interaction with a child, a student is completely different. So yeah, being in an office just wasn't me. I like being able to go outside and teach outside and being out in nature, even though I hate it in the winter. It's so cold. And when it's raining, okay, I don't like it. But at the same time, it's just different. It's no 2 days are the same. It's just something that's keeps me going day to day, knowing that I don't know what today's going to bring and it's exciting.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. I kind of it resonates more with me nowadays because I'm a bit like, okay, I don't really want to have another job or where I sitting in an office like 8 hours a day or something. There's nothing more boring than that.
Exactly.
But it took me a long time to get to that point. And I can relate to what you were saying about school days because I did a course years ago, supporting teaching and learning in schools, it was called, and it was like with Wolverhampton College. And I had a placement with a secondary school in Netherton, which is part of Dudley in the West Midlands. And that gave me some insights into what teachers have to go through every day. Oh
Mm.
my God. It was some eye opener. Remind me again, are you in primary or in secondary education?
I'm in secondary education, mainstream school.
Ah, yes. Okay. You're definitely, yeah, there's a lot going on, isn't there?
Yes, there is. And I think it's changed a considerable amount over my 16 years of teaching. It's changed a lot. It's it's definitely harder
Hmm.
for people that are training now and going into teaching now because of the increased workload,
Mm.
increased administration jobs that we have to do.
Hmm.
I'm going to say increase in behaviors in the classrooms because the kids are struggling.
Mm.
Following COVID, they're struggling with anxiety and themselves. And when you have 30 kids in the classroom with all these different personalities and different struggles, it can be quite overwhelming for a new teacher
Mm.
stepping in.
Mm.
So, I mean, I think although the workload's increased and I think the job's gotten harder over the years, and obviously, of course, there's issues with pay, and I know there's pay rises sort of being talked about currently. But I find now anyway that I get more support from my senior leaders than I ever have did 10 years ago. So I think
That's
that's
good.
improved for me on a personal level in my school. That's improved. We have well-being afternoons, for example, once a term. The head teacher's door is always open if we need a chat about anything. So I think obviously it depends on the school you go to and the area you work in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think the biggest issue is just the workload. I don't think teaching is a family profession like it used to
Mm.
be for
Mm.
parents. I
Mm.
don't think that is the case anymore, unfortunately. Which is
Mm.
partly why I started my podcast to try and help as many teachers as possible in the classrooms, also with their own work life balance and with their own well being, because it can be really tough at times and exhausting.
Yeah. I mean, from totally relate to that, because even 10 years ago when I did our training, I witnessed some things, and it was really tough. That one of the tough things that I had witnessed was that new children was coming in from that came into the country from other places in the world, and they had no English.
Yes, yes.
And they didn't get much support for English. They were stuck in the community room with dictionaries and things to teach themselves, and they had 1 hour of tutoring a week. That was at that school. There might be schools that handle it better. And yeah, it's what you were saying. I was just glad to hear that you were saying you have a very supportive, you know, people on the top,
Yes,
that
yeah.
way where you can go to. You've got the well-being afternoons. That's absolutely fantastic and much, much needed.
It is 100%. It's more needed now so than ever.
Yeah, yeah. And I love what you're doing and what you're trying to achieve with your podcast. You're helping teachers thrive podcast. It's I think it's especially important for new teachers coming on board as well, with the advice that you're offering there.
It's something I started because I was training teachers anyway in school, and I was seeing what they were going through, and I thought, like, is this something that's other teachers are struggling with? Is this something that teachers are struggling with across the country, and maybe I can help them in some way, or even globally. So yeah, I like helping people. So I like training teachers and seeing them improve and get better. And I just thought, how can I do this on a bigger scale, on a global scale? So I started my podcast initially to try and help more teachers in their training years. And then it kind of grew to just sort of want to help as many teachers as possible with not just work, not just classroom based things and improving their strategies and their classroom management skills, but also their well-being and helping them to identify the signs of burnout and sort of what to do to help you reduce your risk of burnout, but also understand that you can say no to things. You don't have to give your time to everything that the school asks of you. You can say no, absolutely, and put yourself
Yeah,
first. So yeah, no, it's really fun to do. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy helping people, and it's something that's sort of grown. And I've got people coming asking to be guests on my podcast from America and other countries, which is
brilliant.
fun to do and get to know other people and find out what's going on in their countries as well. So yeah, it is exciting.
That is so good. That is so good. No, I really love what you're doing there, and it
Thank
is
you.
much needed. It really is much needed. Are you sometimes getting questions asked from teachers? What can I do to kind of, maybe ones that haven't necessarily listened to all your episodes? What can I do to kind of, I feel overwhelmed, and what do you recommend for
I'll
them?
always, one of the first things I recommend is reach out to somebody, speak to a colleague, and just share your issues or troubles with them because they might be going through the similar thing or they might have gone through it and have advice that will help you to improve. Of course, there are teachers, unfortunately, they're in toxic schools and toxic environments. They can't do that. But I'd always reach out to people online and go into Facebook groups, go into teaching groups. There's so many groups out there with resources and help and advice to help people. Of course, listen to my podcast as well,
Mm-hmm.
and get information from there in terms of different strategies, in terms of not just in the classroom, but also how to improve work-life balance as well. But I think the biggest things that we need to do as teachers is to be able to not take things personally. And I've got an episode on my podcast on that. Just don't try not to take things personally. We so easily take things personally on a day-to-day because we're with kids every day. And when they say stuff to us, that can make us take us aback, make us feel a bit uncomfortable or upset or worried, or we feel like we're not doing a good enough job. Or when a parent, for example, emails us, sends us an angry email or contacts us and is angry over the phone about something, we need to be able to just distance ourselves because that parent could be going through something and struggling with something, and that they're just projecting that onto us. Same with the kids. Those kids are going through stuff at home. We don't know what they're going through. They could just
Yeah.
be projecting stuff onto us. So definitely don't take things personally on a day to day, because otherwise it's not good for our mental health. It's going to affect us negatively in the long run.
Yeah.
Um, Another big thing I'd say advise is just make note of the little wins. Like I've got thank you notes from kids that I keep in my desk drawer. If you have like a board next to your desk, just stick it up on the board, put it all, but pin it all up in front of you so you can see it on a day-to-day basis.
It's a
And
great
just keep those
idea.
emails from parents and from other people just thanking you and saying like things that you've done for them and the impact you've had on them, and just keep all those little things and remember those little wins every day.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. It's a good reminder to have something on board or something near the desk or in the room that is easily visible, so that
Yes.
on not so great days you can look at that and think, I'm actually doing a great job.
Yeah, because it's easy to
That's
forget. It's
important.
so easy to
Yeah,
forget.
yeah. And what you were saying as well, that's we don't know what's happening outside
mm.
the classroom. There's so much that, sometimes kids, they can be at home, they can be an angel, and in the school they kind of kick off. Or the other way around, or the parents, they've got, they've, as we were saying, they've got something going on. Or even if they're stuck in a bad relationship or something, it's easy to project stuff that's sitting in them onto others, even though it's actually not really appropriate to do that. But there's a lot of people who don't know about, you know, emotional intelligence and all that, that you're learning to control your and being aware what ticks you off, and then being able to control yourself and manage yourself so that you don't fire off onto other people what's kind of stuck in you, but has nothing to do with the other person that you're kind of firing stuff off on. So yeah, there needs to be more awareness of that as well.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
that's
parents need to reach out to teachers. Parents need to reach out to schools and just ask for help as well sometimes, because
yeah.
their kids might be going through things, or they might be undiagnosed, or maybe they have got ADHD or autism or an SE or a special need,
Mm,
and the parents are struggling at home. They don't know the strategies to help the child, and that child
mm,
could be coming to school masking at school and then going
mm,
home and just erupting. And that's normal. That's natural. It's hard. It's hard to mask all day long and then take it home, and then they sort of just release it all at home. So yeah, it's
yeah.
important that we discuss things with parents and just try to support each other better.
Yeah. Or what we both don't see is like what you don't see and what the parents don't see. You as in being people in schools, and the parents, is what happens on the way to school, because there could be stuff happening there as well that the kids might be reluctant to speak about, or that's not easily coming out, and it might come out as in firing off stuff that, having a go at someone just for having a go at and letting steam off, or because they can't kind of articulate themselves. These things
Mm.
happen as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, Andy Baker talks about it a lot. He talks about the Coke
He
bottle
does.
analogy. You're being shaken all day long, and then at some point you can't keep that lid on anymore, and it just explodes.
Yeah. Reminds me something of it. At the counseling training many years ago, we had the kind of the pressure cooker.
Yes,
The
yeah.
pressure builds up and up and up, and then it just explodes.
Mm.
But it's a very similar analogy. Very similar to that. Yeah. Yeah. Have you got a lot of like people with special educational needs in schools? Has that increased over the years, and how's that developed?
I think it has. It has gradually increased over the years. I suppose it does depend on the school, but we have quite a good SEN department. We have a SENCO, someone who's in charge of SEN needs and deals with the EHCPs and the annual meetings. And we get regular emails asking us for information on students and how they're coping in lessons. So I think that's definitely improved. Um, but I think awareness of staff of needs and triggers and strategies needs to get better. I mean, we
Mhm.
have something called one page profile. So every child who's got a specific need will have a profile of the strategies that helps that child, what they struggle with and what they need help with, so that we then are aware of that. But
Mhm.
specific training is definitely needed
Mhm. Mhm.
on needs, because I've learned more about special needs over the last 2 years. I did a couple of years in a special needs school. So I learned more on special needs when I was there than ever in my whole entire teaching career in
Yeah.
mainstream. Because it's just like things like ADHD, for example. People think ADHD is all about hyperactivity and you can't sit still. No, they may sit still, perfectly still, and be focused all lesson, but we don't know what's going on internally for them, and there could be a turmoil
Mhm.
internally for them. They
Mhm.
don't have to be fidgeting all the time for them to have ADHD. and copying off the board. Like we as teachers, we think, yeah, it's easy, it's on the board, just copy off the board. But actually, no, kids with autism really struggle with that. They can really struggle with just being able to copy off the board onto a piece of paper or type it up and copy from something. So yeah, I think we definitely need more understanding, more awareness, more training on different needs and different triggers going
Yeah,
forward.
I find that very interesting as well, because it's like it's linked to brain and mind as well. Like, you know, ADHD, autism, all these kind of neurodivergent conditions and things. So even I, as a person who's not working in schools, I want to learn more about that too. I want to know what's you know, what can happen in those brains of these children, of these people. I mean, I remember from the school's course years ago that there were some that really struggled with in classrooms when it was really noisy and there's lots of children, and sometimes I had to sit with them in the community area because they had to be taken out of the class because it got too much for them. And yes, very, very difficult. Or they kind of try to focus from the work that they're supposed to do onto something that they're interested in, which has actually nothing to do at the moment with what they're supposed to listen
Yeah.
to. But yes, it's interesting to see and to find out how these brains tick, you know, and to maybe think of strategies how to help these kids to learn better and to get them interested to kind of maybe link what they're interested in, sorry, to the subject they are supposed to learn about, you know, the subject they're taught. But of course, it's difficult in a classroom setting. You can't focus on one or two like separate children. So yeah, I do
That's
wonder if
about true.
that's kind of an idea to move forward, but obviously it's not possible in classroom settings.
I think it's just about the teacher being creative
Mm,
enough, and that can be hard as a teacher, which is why we should speak
mm,
to each other and just collaborate and share resources. But yeah, I mean, it's just about trying to introduce the interest of the children so that it makes the learning more real to life for them. So,
mhm.
for example, if you have kids in your class that love football, try and somehow incorporate football into your lesson in terms of the
Yeah,
content of the lesson. Or what I like to do is I like to allow them to produce their work in a way that they're comfortable with. So it's not always typing and writing. If you want to do a presentation, do a presentation. I've had kids do recordings, like record themselves speaking like an interview, and just putting across the work in that way instead. So obviously it's not always easy when you've got 30 kids in the class, they all want to do different
mm,
things. But yeah,
yeah,
it's just about balancing and just speaking to the kids and find out what's interesting in what they find interesting and how we can try and incorporate it somehow. Not maybe not
yeah.
into every lesson, but at some point so that the kids feel like that it's something that's interesting to them, so they're more like to focus and more like to learn as well in lessons.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that kind of raises the question, how much creativity do you have in that sense? You know, what can you what can you do? What can you choose for them rather
Mm.
than, oh, you've got to do this, that, and that, you know, tight tight knit strategy, any kind of really step-by-step thing. How much creativity are you allowed to have as a teacher?
Again, that depends on the school, unfortunately. I think there
Mm,
are schools where teachers can't be as creative and everything's structured and you have to follow a certain thing, you have to do everything a certain way.
right.
But I mean, with that, I mean, in my school, as long as we're teaching, we do have a set way we have to teach content, which is fine. We obviously
Mhm,
have a curriculum we have to follow, and we have to teach that in a specific way. But within that teaching, we can incorporate different tasks and activities that help the children to learn better and pick up the content a lot easier. So we can get them to present their work in different ways, or we can do group projects, for example, or pair work, um,
mhm,
or presentations and lessons. So yeah, we are allowed to add our flair to it, so to speak, and adapt in terms of the activities that we offer and the tasks that we plan in our lessons. But we do have to still teach a certain way, and we do have specific
mhm,
content we have to deliver. But yeah,
mhm.
there's always some sort of flexibility that we can do as teachers, and the more creative you can be, the better for the kids. They're going to enjoy it more and be more engaged and motivated to learn.
It's brilliant. I like that. I like the approach of your school. I really
Yeah.
do. I think there need to be more schools like that. There'd be a bit more more flexible in the approach, because that would help not just the teachers. I'm sure that makes teaching a bit more fun for you as well, does it? No, or
Yeah,
what do you think?
100%. Yeah, because it's not boring for us then. If it's boring for us, it's going to be boring for the kids. If we're bored teaching it, they're going to be bored sitting there listening. So, yeah, it makes it way more fun for us if we can be more creative and add our own flair to things as well.
Yeah, I think we need more flexibility.
Mm.
Everything's a little bit too structured. And
Yeah, rigid.
what do you think? Yes, your honest opinion about curricula. My opinion is always we need more life skills. I
Yes.
think the nod says a lot.
I think it's a hard one. The curriculum needs a massive change in this country. It does. I mean, I understand that we have to teach specific subjects. I get that for GCSEs, for kids' careers. I understand that. But we're missing so many good opportunities to help children in schools with the life skills, for example, with the budgeting and the finance, with the I've got kids that have got like entrepreneurial flair and they want to be business people and they've got all these ideas. I had a child tell me last holiday when we came back that he made £300 selling chocolates online. I said, that's incredible. That's really good.
Wow,
He's only year 7. He's
brilliant.
11 years old. So I think we need more opportunities for kids to do more hands-on skills. I think in my school a number of years ago now, we had horticulture, we had hairdressing, we had another, it was like a mechanics course. Or was it architecture? I can't remember. But we had another similar course, a vocational course, and they sort of just died out over the years and disappeared, which is,
That's
I
a
mean,
shame.
I get it, it's funding. So it's really
Yeah.
down to the government, let's be honest. The schools need way more funding so they can offer more things to the kids. We haven't got the money, we don't have the time, we don't have the resources. Teachers are buying their own resources for lessons and classrooms, which is ridiculous. So
That
yeah,
shouldn't be.
it's
That should not happen. That is
no.
just. It is really ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I
It
find
is.
that. I find it shocking.
It is terrible because we're being underpaid, overworked, and it's just, and then we're not even getting the resources that we need. So yeah,
Yeah.
it starts with the government. There needs to be a massive change to the curriculum in this country and just offer more opportunities for kids that aren't academic and they're going to thrive doing other things instead.
Yeah. Yeah. It's this one for all approach. I'm totally against one for all approaches these days. I know. Excuse me. I know it's difficult when you like in the education system or sometimes in the world of work as well. This one for all. You've got to do it that way.
Yeah.
It's not everybody's brain works like that. There's also not enough awareness about that. And even um, though we call the people with autism, ADHD, dyspraxia, dyscalculia, just kind of say that word really.
Yeah.
um, these, if we call those neurodivergent, I think everybody's neurodivergent because everybody's brain works different. There's never a single brain that works exactly like the other one. So
Very true. Yeah, it isn't.
there is that some people have disagreed with me, some people have agreed with me on that. So it's just it's just something that I've come to realize because of the training and all the knowledge that I've gathered over the years now with regards to the brain, and that people have different brain profiles and it's just work different.
Yeah, no, everyone's brain definitely 100% works differently. And I think we need to, as adults in schools, we need to be aware of that more and more because I think there's too many instances where people are dealing with behaviors in the same old logic thinking way, and that's the wrong way to deal with behaviors in school because these kids, like, they're struggling. I mean, I've heard teachers say to me, well, they have to be punished, they have to have consequences because otherwise they'll leave school and they'll end up messing up a meeting or they'll end up messing up in their jobs and getting the sack. I said, well, actually, that's not true because that's something they're really interested in. That's something they're really focused on. They're going to put 100% effort into that because
Yeah.
that's something they've gone into. It's something they really want to do. In school, unfortunately, if they're not interested, then they're not going to
Yeah.
be able to focus. They're going to disrupt our learning. So yeah, we just need to be mindful that we can't just punish kids and use the old forms of punishment to
Yeah.
make sure that they're improving their behavior because that's just going to affect their well-being later on.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You don't want to have adults with PTSD due to school
No.
experiences or anything like that. We've got enough mental health problems as we do.
Yeah,
Don't want to
100%.
add. We don't want to add to that. Definitely not. Yeah. Did you have any kind of experiences that kind of triggered this interest when you started the podcast? Like any kind of own experiences? Did you have kind of periods of time when you were really badly struggling as well?
Yep. um, it was more after COVID, so I'd probably say, yeah, about
Mm,
maybe from 2020 onwards,
okay.
I started losing a love for teaching. I started losing my passion, and
Mm.
I didn't want to do it anymore. I hated it. I was marking constantly. I was getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning just to get my marking done.
Oh
I
my
wasn't
God.
spending time with my son. I was working while I'm cooking dinner, and I had everything on my phone, which was the worst
Mhm.
thing I could ever do.
Oh no.
I had all my emails, everything work related on my phone. I was uploading, planning lessons, emailing people, and that was a bad decision.
Mm,
And it just got to the point where I thought, why am I doing this? I don't know what I'm doing. What am I doing this for anymore? So
mm,
I made the decision to leave my school at the time
mhm,
and go to a special needs school, which was closer to home. I thought I want to try something different. I've always had
mhm,
an interest in special needs and wanted to help kids with specific needs. So I thought I want to go and do that for a bit. So I went to a special needs school for 2 years, which was a massive eye opener.
ah,
Really, like, just taught me so much. And that's when I started my podcast, really. I started my podcast about April 2023. So I was already in a special needs school for about a year at that
uh-huh.
point. And I just thought there are teachers out there that are struggling, not just with behaviors across the board, but also
Mm,
to help kids that need that extra support. And there are kids
mhm,
that are falling through the net, getting missed in schools, especially mainstream schools. And then they're
mm,
just going through school life and struggling. And there are kids that will not go to school because of it, and their attendance will be shocking because
mhm.
that it's just anxiety. Going to school
Yeah.
causes them anxiety. They don't want to go from lesson to lesson to lesson all day long, people banging and shouting and pushing each other around and running down the corridors and all the bright lights and noise. It's just hard. It's not
Mhm.
easy.
No.
Um, so yeah, that just opened my eyes a lot. But then I decided to go back to my mainstream school, mostly because I just missed teaching my subject. I'm a PE teacher. I didn't want to be stuck in a
Mhm.
classroom teaching classroom lessons all day long. I thought
Yeah.
this is not what I came to what I came to
Mhm.
teaching for. But yeah, it just made me. It did improve my work life balances. Did, and ever since then, my work life balance is way better because I learned to shut off work when I
Right.
left
That's
work.
good.
I took everything off my phone, and even if my colleagues messaged me after school about work related things, I don't like it. Like I don't want to be
Mhm,
messaged about work related things
mhm.
because I've clocked off. Um, so yeah, I think switching schools and changing and trying something else has helped my work life balance, but it's also it gave me the confidence I needed to start my podcast and try and help as many people out there as possible
That's
across all
brilliant.
schools, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
You said you're a PE teacher. How has PE
Yes.
changed over teaching PE changed over the years? Is there not a lot of like, oh, health and safety, you can't do this, you can't do that?
Um, kind of, yeah. I mean, I suppose there are a lot of health and safety issues. I mean, I used to teach hockey years ago.
Okay.
We stopped
Right.
teaching hockey
Oh, okay.
because it's dangerous. Kids need mouth guards, and yeah, I get that. We used to teach trampolining. We stopped teaching trampolining because again, it's
Mm.
not a safety issue, and you have one child on a trampoline, the other children are around the trampoline trying to keep them safe. Yeah, it didn't make sense
That's
for our
what we
school.
used to do when I went to school, and that was a long time
Yeah.
ago. We
So
used to have the big
yeah.
trampoline, and then everybody has to be standing
Yep.
like that on the outside
Yep.
of the trampoline to kind of build some sort of safety precaution for them.
Yeah.
And
So yeah, in terms of that, there's some sports we don't teach anymore.
mhm.
But I mean, has it really changed in terms of teaching PE? I suppose in a way I don't know actually. I still teach. Do I teach the same I used to teach? I probably am more creative in the PE lesson now, I'd
Uh-huh.
say, because I've had years of experience. I've got years of different activities and different ways of teaching things. So I can chop and change and teach things differently quite easily.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, no, not. I mean, the health and safety has obviously gotten harder over the years. We have to consider a lot more things
Yeah.
when it comes to teaching PE. But we teach loads of sports, and that's a good thing because then kids get exposed to all these different sports, and if they find something they're good at,
That's
they can
good.
then
Yeah.
potentially go on and play for a club outside of school. So yeah, that's good.
Yeah. but no climbing equipment and all we had
No, we
these
don't use them
strings where you
anymore.
had to kind of go off. I never managed that one, but then we had all the different kinds of equipment and stuff like that to do.
No, yeah, we still have those gymnastics equipment stuck on the wall that we don't use anymore, the ladders, and we use the ropes from time to time. But yeah, there are some old ancient equipment, pieces of equipment we don't use anymore.
Yeah. Oh, that's a nice bit of insights into what's happening in secondary education nowadays and things. And it's as I say, it's really great what you're doing with your podcasts and how you're trying to help other teachers. And I will certainly keep sharing posts about your episodes and things
Thank you.
to help people, get a bit more understanding of what's happening, and to how they can improve their life balance. So have you got any kind of recommendations for teachers how to, what could kind of help them kind of prevent themselves from burnout and any kind of mental health issues?
So I would definitely not have anything on my phone to do with work. I learned that the hard way. Delete everything work related
Boundaries.
off of your phone. Boundaries are huge. So scheduling things. So if you've got marking to do, for example, planning, and you want to do it at a certain time of the day when you've got a free period, schedule, or even at home, schedule the time you're going to spend on that. And then when the time is up, stop. It will get done when it gets done. I think we're just too stressed and overwhelmed that we have to get everything's done. Oh, we've got to get this done by tomorrow. I've got to do this. And we end up spending hours and hours and hours doing work. Always have a schedule and just stop when the time comes and go do something else. It's nice to help people, it is. And we have colleagues that come to us all the time for support and help. But if someone infringes on your time and you're doing marking or planning, just politely say to them, look, I can't really help you right now. I'm really sorry, but just send me an email and we'll sort out the time and we'll schedule a time when we can actually work together and I can help you in terms of moving forwards with whatever you're struggling with or whatever you need support with, whether it's resources or whatever else. So try not to let people infringe on your time. Just have your time and put yourself first, because we are the most important person, really. The kids obviously are important too, but if we can't be good enough for ourselves, we're going to struggle in lessons. We're going to struggle in the classroom. The kids aren't going to benefit from us. It's just going to be a ripple effect, and it's going to lead to worse outcomes for the kids and for us as well. So boundaries are huge. I mean, even I talk a lot about boundaries and about setting boundaries and making sure you stick to boundaries on my podcast. But I'm not perfect. There are times when I forget my boundaries. There are times when, last few weeks, I've been working every weekend, unfortunately, marking my year 12's work because I had to get all their work marked and I didn't have enough time to do it. So I had to spend weekends for the last 3-4 weeks marking coursework. That's like 4 or 5 hours sometimes on a Saturday. And I just think, why am I doing this? Like, I should know better than this. I set my boundaries and I should stick to them. So yeah, it's sometimes even I forget. Sometimes things go out the window and we just have to reset and just be kind to ourselves. Things will go wrong sometimes. Our work-life boundary will just go out the window. A balance will go out the window. So just, be kind to yourself and know that you can restart again tomorrow and it's all good. So don't kick yourself and beat yourself up about it.
Yeah, I suppose, finding time to relax and kind of just switch off in whatever way that is an important one as well. I mean, if you have children as well, it will be even more difficult, I think.
Yes. That's
because
hard.
They do need attention as well. They do want attention. You do want to, you have got your family and they do need mum time as well, definitely.
I think that's what I struggle with the most out of everything. Trying to be there for my son as well, because I did an episode actually recently on compassion fatigue, because I listened to Andy's podcast and he talked about compassion fatigue and how teachers and carers can suffer a lot from it because you're there empathetically for all those people, for all those kids day in, day out, and then you go home and you have your own family that you've got to be there for emotionally, and it's hard. So I really struggle with that even now. I'm just trying to make sure I have time for my family, but also time for myself and put myself time and do some self-care. So sometimes that can be difficult depending on the day. So I need to work a little bit more on that, I think, going forwards.
Yeah, you come out of one environment where you've kind of a lot of a high mental demand, so to speak, and then you come home to your family and they want all the attention,
Yeah.
and you know, like there's not enough space, is there?
No, no. So yeah, it is
Mm.
important to realize that's happening and recognize when it's happening and just start putting things in place to help reduce the risk of being burnt out. So taking time for yourself, going for a walk, having a bath, candles, reading a book, whatever you're interested in, just having even 10 minutes, just sit in your car when you come home from work,
Mm.
just doing,
Yeah.
listening to a podcast or something, just doing something that helps you to sort of center yourself and sort of refresh yourself before you then have to be there for your family.
Yeah, yeah. I think nature might be helpful as well, you know.
Yeah.
Go and hug a tree. I need to start tree
Yeah.
hugging.
I've never done that actually, so that might be something I need to start
I think I've done it once,
looking
but
into.
I think that was with my son, so he had a good laugh at me at a point.
Ah!
I think he was when he was in teenage years. He's no longer there at the moment. He's away in Manchester. He's got summer break as well, studying
Mm.
at uni, but
Oh
moved to
wow.
his new place and likes his new environment. So yeah, let's see what happens with him. No, he always winds me up if I do any kind of things like that. But we always have a good laugh.
That's the most important thing. As long as you're laughing.
Yeah, yeah. Right. We're coming to the end of the episode. Have you got any links and things that you want to share? Anything you want to promote?
Yes, so I would love to send you some links to my podcast, Helping Teachers Thrive, so that your listeners can access my podcast as well and start listening if they're teachers or if they know any teachers in their family or friends that are teachers. Please share the podcast with them to help them going forwards as well, especially trainee teachers or early career teachers. But even if teachers have been teaching for a number of years, it can be really hard for them as well, struggling through trying to get their work-life balance sorted, but also struggling in lessons with behaviours. I also have a membership site that I've started building over the last couple of years with
Oh,
more
brilliant.
exclusive content from my podcast.
Mhm.
And also I run webinars as well. I've done a few over the last couple of months. I'm going to do them more regularly just to support teachers with their time management, with different strategies as well to help them in the classrooms and lessons, to help them with their confidence in the classrooms, but also to help them in the classroom management and behaviour management as well. So yes, so I will send you links to
Super.
for your
Yeah, I
listeners as
will
well.
put
But
those all in the show notes
yeah,
so for
thank
people
you.
to share.
But your listeners can
Yeah,
also find me on all social media channels: Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok.
that's great. Super. Always brilliant to have you on as a guest. Tim, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you
And
for inviting me. It's been brilliant.
and I will let you know when the episode is scheduled.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, thank you, and thank you to our listeners, and see you at the next episode.